came together, they formed a small hospital. And then now, it's how big is Prabhu? How many?
300 beds.
300 beds. It's one of the famous. And then they, for proper disciples, they treat them, take care of them wonderfully. It's like not a hospital, it's like a spiritual center. Maybe you get an opportunity to see amazing how they treat Chinese connection everywhere prasadam, and they treat not only body and soul. They distribute the books there. There's the festivals there. They have inside the hospital.
Every day.
Every day. Every room. And then people come out, the Muslims, Christians, all the people also come out of that, they become Krishna consciousness. They're actually, and he's one among the founders, unsung heroes. And then after them, sometimes they're also part of Grihastha Vision Team, it's called. They travel around the world, and then the spiritual master told them, they have a counselor system, very systematic for Grihasthas, families. And then I also highly encourage, they are available for each one of us, family members. They are actually being trained, and they are the counselors of the counselors. So they have so much of experience, they will tell us, every one of us, we may be coming to temple, chanting Hare Krishna here and there, but we have our own baggage coming from the background. So we don't know, sometimes confused what to do, what not to do, how to do. So they spend time, very confidential, and they spend work with one-on-one, and they help so many people. And then in the future, if you have time, please can see me around Prabhu. We can arrange, they can spend some time, and then they can help you, which you cannot share with so many people. They're people. And then they're doing past almost 10 years old. Is the first time I can use 10 years back again.
7th year.
7th year. A lot of people, and there is no council system in America. A lot of people, they cannot share. They struggle, they suppress when they become a pressure cooker. So now the spiritual master said that why don't you travel and help others also? So they may not talk about big philosophies like sannyasis, which they can, but they talk in a practical ground, on a day-to-day, how to do, what is the problems, how to help, how to have a Krishna conscious life, the kids and others, wonderful. Okay, and if I can sing so many glories about them, they're very close to down to earth. Okay, very simple, like you and me, we can travel. Even though they're actually 45 years, they're in Southern Society. And then we really wanted to thank them. He's very busy doctor, very busy doctor. So we take 1 month vacation. Yes. This is the vacation. Vacation, you should go out, forget everything, right? But this is the vacation. 1 week they travel intensely from center to center, weekdays and weekends. We are very fortunate to have them here. And then I request everybody who attend today, come to temple tomorrow, because they're going to do 2-part seminar. 1 day today, and then extension will be tomorrow. So you're going to miss it. Yeah, sorry. I'm also moving the hand. And she said, I'm going to meet you. So that's, and then I don't know the topic yet. He said he's going to give you the topic, and then he's going to reveal the source of that. So let's give a big round of applause. I want to sincerely thank Hirad and Alanta Prabhu for opening the heart and home. Let's give a big round of applause.
Yeah, is this going to go like this? Yes. It's like this one. Yes.
Okay. Looks like water. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Once you got the best. Tanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm really surprised that they are on a working day in such big numbers. So I can only thank you all very much for making up this important time, and it speaks loudly about your utsaha, for enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness, and that's one of the most finest qualities one can have in our spiritual journey, to keep the spirit of
Can you increase the volume? Possible? Just the maximum.
Is the maximum? Okay, I'll speak louder. I can speak louder.
Yeah, we have space here.
COVID is over.
Yeah, please come. Alright, so let's get started because we're a little late. I know apologies for being late here today. But doctors are known to come late to their OPDs. In India, that's like, that's okay. Doctors are forgiven for being late. Dear devotees, I like to focus on 3 words. Sadhana, sadhya, and sadhan. Okay? So that's our focus of our discussion. I think we involve discussing these 3 words. So, sadhana means the process, right? Sadhan is the tool we use to reach the process, and sadhya is the goal which we reach by using the process and the tool, right? Yeah, simple. So just like Arjuna, the great archer, when he was shooting the bird's eye at Dwarakadish Gurukul, so the eye of the bird becomes what? Becomes the sadhya. The bow and arrow are
Sadhan.
right? And the rehearsal he did before that, the practice he did that rigorous is called as
Sadhana.
Exactly. So it's more like the engine to the car. However good your car is, it's only used to the extent it has a great engine. If you have a great car, Tesla or whatever you name it, BMW, Mercedes, it's only useful if it has a great engine inside. Because the engine decides the speed and the surety of how you reach fast to your destination. Right? And so we'll discuss something about sadhana because it is so vital to our Krishna consciousness. A word which we often use in our discussions is sadhana. So the relevancy is that we discuss something which will enhance the quality of our sadhana. It's not just about the sadhana itself, but we need to grow qualitatively. Of course, quantitatively also, but more so, Prabhu stress on the quality of what we do. Krishna consciousness means doing everything in a very qualitative manner. Isn't it? Right. So, this was a discussion. What we're today talking about is, and the topic for today's discussion is leveraging the power of collective wisdom. I'll repeat again. Leveraging the power of
Collective wisdom.
So, this discussion, the source of the discussion is he mentioned the consular system, Prabhu. We'll just go short summary of what the system is about. And we have this consular system going on for the last, since 1990 in Chowpatty Gopinath Mandir. And there are about 80 counselors. Every 4 months, that is twice in a year, they meet for about 2 days.
80 couples.
80 couples,
170.
160, yeah, 160 counselors for that matter. Plus, counselors means couple. So discuss for 2 days very rigorously. There is a very intense program, often held in GV and Vada, of those topics which are relevant for community development, for their own self-nourishment, learning various arts, deep spiritual discussions, different type of workshops are there. And this particular discussion took place just a few days before we came for US, the last ACM, the last all counselors meeting, right? And it was a panel discussion. You know what's a panel, right? There are moderators and there are panelists who are selected. So the counselor system being very old, there are many senior counselors in the system. And yet the moderators chose 6 panelists, 3 grihastas and 3 brahmacharis. From different backgrounds. One of them was a lawyer, one was a CEO of a multinational company, one is a CEO of a hospital, like that. So they were very well placed in their sort of worldly setting, and yet they are fully committed to the process of Vishakapriya. So the questions were asked about, they asked 3-4 questions, but one important question which came up, it was about 2-hour session, was what is it in your life which keeps you going so steadily with complete commitment to the process of Krishna consciousness? What keeps your sadhana alive? What makes your sadhana strong? What keeps your sadhana fueled up, whereby you're able to perform consistently for the last 30 plus years? Everybody in the panel was practicing bhakti for 30 plus years. So 3 6 are 18. 180 hours of wisdom was available in this discussion. We call it the leveraging the advantage of collective wisdom. So this was a discussion among these devotees. Is it useful discussion too?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be useful for all of us also, right? So we were taking notes. Because what you're taking notes right now. So I also was sitting with paper and pen and said, wow, this is whatever comes out here will be great. Not only great for me, but for all the devotees who, wherever we go, we can share this. So that's how this has come. So we are just in parampara, carriers of wisdom to all of you. So this record, so we sort of collated the whole data which was generated and put it to 10 points, which you call as Dashamula Sadhana Sutras. So there are 10 essential elements which we will discuss with you in terms of sutras of what they have done, and for the matter what you and I could also do to keep our sadhana strong and at its very best. So the question was started off, and the first to answer was a grihastha, very senior grihastha, a senior counselor, and his first response was, my sadhana bhakti has been good to the extent it has been good, and I give a lot of credibility to the fact that I have been blessed by a very stable family life, a very strong and emotionally balanced, very God-centered family life. And he said this, something which we may not all of us have, but the principle is there. He has parents who have been counselors. Now he himself is a counselor, but his parents have been counselors, and his parents have married for 64 years. They are not 64, they are married for 64 years. So they are 85 years, and they're still in very good health. Right? So then his son was sitting on the panel. So because they've been devotees, they have got wonderful deities in the house, and there is n number of programs they must have had in their house, like we're having over here, the number of sannyasis which have come, the amount of mahatamas which have come, brahmacharis, Janmashtami in their house celebrated. And it has been like for the last 30-40 years we've been just doing this. So because of this very stable family situation, when he married, of course, he married another dentist who was also a devotee. So in this way, the whole atmosphere is very Krishna Sancharge. The principle here is that for doing something as powerful as sadhana bhakti, we need an environment, right? Like if you are reading you want to do some good reading, you cannot sit on a platform in a government central station, right? There is cacophony everywhere. You need a library that is very peaceful. Similarly, to keep the mind peaceful and undisturbed to the best of it, extent, we'll have to spend some time and energy behind seeing that we also keep the family situation as congenial, as smooth, right? As loving, as happy as possible. Because ultimate sadhana is done by our mind. The lips which chant Hare Krishna, the mind is impacted by a disturbed environment. That disturbed mind, when it's with the bead bag in the hand, the same mind is chanting Hare Krishna also. So the mind is going to obviously, vacillate, get distorted, get distracted, and it won't be really, you won't be able to give your heart into the performance of sadhana, right? So please be mindful of this fact that even though family life is not directly part of sadhana, but it impacts sadhana in a very powerful way. Okay? Right, so just be mindful of this one thing.
So we all know that we have a body and we have a soul. Everybody has that?
Yes. We are the soul.
So, what is that?
We are the soul.
So the body and the soul is there, and the needs of the body keep increasing with every passing year.
Yes.
Right?
Changing.
The needs are increasing, financial needs, physical needs, whatever. As we grow older, and to satisfy that, we have to increase the resources which are available. So just as the body has its needs, the soul also has its needs. So how when the bodily needs increase, we find resources to increase the to satisfy the bodily needs. Similarly, when the soul's needs increase, we have to try to focus more on it. Right? When we become devotees first, we talk about sadhana. Right? The first thing we all came to know when we became devotees is what? Chanting. Right? That was the thing which made us say, okay, I should start chanting, and I feel I'm chanting, so I'm a devotee now. Isn't it? But then, after a few years, you start chanting 5 rounds, and 10 rounds, and 16 rounds. So you are chanting 16 rounds, and then it becomes what? More or less, it's a routine. We don't have to think that, okay, now what else to do. So then the quantity doesn't increase, but then something has to increase, right? What has to increase? Quality. So, because spiritual means it has to always increase. So quality has to increase, but we start thinking that, chanting, that is ABCD of Krishna consciousness. Now we ourselves are, such old devotees, we can guide other devotees, so not much need to talk about chanting. It gets defocused from our mind automatically. However, if we understand that was the question that was asked to this panel was what? How did you stabilize your sadhana over so many years? That means not only in the initial years, but even now. So imagine that it was a meeting of all the counselors. It was not newcomers meeting. But the counselors themselves we wanted to know that how to keep the sadhana going, because we know that is the platform. That is the power which is going to engine all our services, our spiritual life, our Krishna consciousness. So we want to know how can we do it, right? So these points that were told came about because off and on, what are the signs that our sadhana is getting neglected? If we were to answer a questionnaire, that what are the signs that my sadhana is getting neglected, we'll just come up with some points. Number one is what? We start having some late night rounds. People are smiling.
Late night?
Late night rounds. We are not able to complete our japa in the morning. So this is signs of neglect, of spiritual neglect. Signs of spiritual neglect. First one is sometimes we are, sometimes or often or always we have to analyze that. We have late night rounds. Second point is no time for good quality or quantity association. Association is available, but somehow we are not able to take out time. That shows what? These are some signs of spiritual neglect happening. Third is no seva connection with the temple or the mission. We might get isolated, we might start doing our own things. There is no seva connection to temple or the mission. That's a beginning of the sign of spiritual neglect. Another one is infrequent reading of Bhakti Shastras. We all know how much time, and some people are really good. We heard over here that you all are having daily reading classes, and you all are having such classes, morning class, evening class. That's really amazing. I mean, we can't even think of it. But sometimes you ask people, are you reading Bhakti Shastra? Yeah, regularly. Once in 2-3 months, regularly. Very regular. But not more regular. Once in 2-3 months. But regular reading is means daily or whatever, our daily dose, our daily quota has to come. Right? Another is, sometimes we have rising desire for material enjoyment. When you come to Krishna consciousness, you try to renounce our material, reduce our material desires, needs. But all of a sudden, after some years, suddenly there is an upsurge that what happened? I had given up all that, and now I'm feeling like doing all those things which I had given up. So these are some of the signs. Some bad habits come back again to us, fetch us good. So these are the signs of spiritual neglect happening. So that gives us a red alert. Red flag. It's a red flag alert to us that I need to do something to it. And I need to do something to stabilize my sadhana. So like we have biscuits and bread and chocolates, what do they have? Stabilizing agents. Without that, can they remain? Very short shelf life, right? So we'll also be short shelf life devotees if we don't have stabilizing agents in our sadhana. So this was the first point that he said. First stabilizer was the family life. Second stabilizer was very beautiful. It's a concept. You have to remember. You have to understand. The word used was what? Visible sadhana. We all do sadhana. What is visible sadhana? Anyone would like to?
Others can see it. Under somebody's review.
Others can see it. Why do we want to make a show of it? Look, I'm doing it. I'm still a devotee and I'm a great devotee. Is that what it means, visible sadhana? No. We are all doing sadhana at home, but off and on it helps. You must have seen the difference in the quality of our sadhana, our japa when we do alone at home and when we do in a group of devotees. You feel there is a qualitative change in it? Yes. It becomes much easier. If you can go to the temple and chant, or groups of devotees can get together and chant. Some people have Zoom chanting, right? Zoom chanting is that every morning 3:30 get up and connect to the Zoom and everybody's chanting, obviously with videos on. If you put it off, then you don't know. This black hole is there, over there. You don't understand what's happening, right? So, why do we try to think about visible sadhana? Number one is for our own qualitative improvement. It will help automatically. And second is that it is harnessing synergy. If I might be sleepy, I might be this thing, but my neighbor is chanting well, then I also feel, oh, let me do little better japa. And Krishna may look to him. And because of that, I might access the mercy of the Lord, right? So if we could try to figure out some common platforms, not on a daily basis, daily it is there, good. But at least once in a week or once in a way, whatever, each one has to see that visibly sadhana inspires us and others also. So for a community, it helps that if we can see that, okay, today's Sunday program, can we meet a little earlier? Or we are having our Bhakti Vriksha, at least 2 to 4 rounds we can chant together. And by the taste that you get, by that quality being better, we'll feel like doing more opportunities to do that together. Does that make sense? So this beautiful concept which this devotee said, another devotee. First was stable family life, second was visible sadhana. These are all two words. You might be able to just note it, Stable family, this is visible sadhana. And we also ourselves was chanting at home for so long. We have a temple just across the street, but because of laziness, we never used to go there. We thought temple is there in the house also. But one fine day, we just got a jolt from within that enough is enough. We should go to the temple and chant. So we started going to the temple and chant, and we saw that it is so much easier. Otherwise, the 16 rounds take the whole day. They don't get over only. But when you chant together or in the temple, they get over in 2 hours. Means nothing, it doesn't take more time. So in every way, this visible sadhana always helps.
I was reminded of a great Vaishnava in a moment in the Los Angeles president, Prabhu. Right? Prabhu is famous in our ISKCON for being probably one of the most steady examples of visible sadhana. You will see him every day for the last 35 years plus, available in the temple room between 3 and 5 in the morning doing his japa. 40 years of an absolute impeccable visible sadhana. And when somebody of that stature, somebody who is the president of the temple, and when he does that, he is giving a very strong statement that this is the most important thing we need to do, right? So
Because actions speak louder than the words. They say that.
we used to see in the 80s when we used to see in various temples that once Mangalarti is over, Narsingha is over, Tulsi is over, right? Then you find in the temple room, 3 people are chanting, and rest everyone has disappeared. And you know what they are doing, right? They are gone back to the rooms, and what you go to the room, they'll do. You take a nap, the Sringer Arati starts again, right? But here, at least what we saw, at least in the Gopinath Mandir, is that the leaders, Radhana Swami, our spiritual master, we saw him doing the same thing. That he may come from a program very late, in the night, sometimes in the night, past midnight, but he will, even if there's bad health, he comes exactly from Mangalarti, he will always be there for japa. He sit in a fixed place, in a Hanumanji, and chant his rounds, right? Again, giving a statement that they are devotees, so that Visible sadhana also gives you a sense of strong regulation, right? Because visible sadhana cannot be done at, okay, we meet for japa at 10 p.m. every day. Is it all right, everybody, devotees? No, it has to be in the early morning hours. So it also gives you a very strong background for regulation. The third sutra which was emerged from the discussion was regular Shravana. Swami Krishna Shravana. Japa is such a deep and important activity for the sadhaka. Far more important than just going through the process of just filling the beads. There's so much more to it than filling our tulsi beads. And therefore, the proper spirit, the proper mood of the japa comes when our heart and ears are filled with proper knowledge, right? And therefore, many devotees do that. In our homes, we've been practicing the same system. Before we have picked up the tea bag in the morning, we have finished half an hour at least of proper hearing, right? So that hearing as, because when we sleep, we are covered over by tamoguna. Because we are unconscious of ourselves and unconscious of Krishna. We're totally unconscious of our reality and the supreme reality, that is Krishna. Right? Yeah. But hearing is a process of activating our souls first before we chant. Like we say when we sleep, how do we get up? Nobody shakes us up. We get up by an alarm clock, right? The alarm rings. So sound wakes up people, right? If there is a fire in the house, the snake is there, we don't really go and touch it. We actually shout, "Stop! Stop! Stop! Stop!" Just to keep it out. So the moment you say "Stop! Stop!" or "Aag lagi! Aag lagi!" right? So sound is power to wake up people. So transcendental sound is of that power. We need to choose those speakers among there are so many speakers available now in our society, right? And which actually maximally inspire devotion and Sharanagati bhava in our heart, right? So there are very many speakers are there, but how do we really choose whom to hear? Oftentimes the spiritual masters may become our natural choices, is perfectly all right. And beyond that, those who really inspire, strong bhakti, more than just information, more than just nice sort of light jokes or whatever it is, more than that type of thing, something which is a strong dose to really keep us activated. Therefore, in temples, we always have Sringarati, and we have Nasigarati, and then we chant Shishtastakam prayers, right? Then we repeat 10 offenses to the holy name. Because by doing these two things, the heart becomes softened, right? And then when we shift the video back. The precedent is that in Mayapur, they have the Kirtan Mela, correct? So there are, like morning to night, there are 12 hours of Kirtan. However, it's important to note here that while Kirtan is extremely important for us because it is a supreme panacea cure, before Kirtan Mela, they have a Shravan Mela. So, unless our hearts are fortified with proper knowledge, then japa can become quite burdensome. But keep on hearing, right? Then the japa gets the proper spirit. So one of these devotees shared this. So you will see at themselves possible difference if you start this from tomorrow, right? So if you're hearing, you will already know what I'm saying is experience. But if you're not going to regular hearing, try to spend some time, either before japa or during the entire day. And the more we hear the receptive heart, it nourishes the soul, right? And then when we sit for japa, we offer more of our consciousness, willingly and lovingly, the Buddha spirit of Sri Krishna.
The fourth point, which another devotee mentioned was, just like how do you make bread? You put yeast in it, but you have to activate the yeast, right? Then the bread becomes very soft and it becomes palatable. So what sometimes we have been practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles year after year after year. But if we want to activate our Krishna conscious life, personal life, not others' life, our own life, then what do we need to do? Take up some preaching engagement. All of us must have noted that when you take up some responsibility, preaching engagement means you are taking responsibility, right? You want to give to others. Now what do you give to others? Something, anything what we have? If I have, only I can give, right? So to have that, I have to have Krishna's mercy. I have to have some empowerment to be able to preach. So automatically it forces you to refocus ourselves and become a little more serious in our Krishna consciousness, because till now I was only concerned about myself and now I have to think about others. Like for ourselves, when we met when I was 18 years old and we got married when I was 20 years old. So when I met Prabhuji for the first time, I was too small, I wouldn't understand, but my mother thought she had got cancer and she wanted us to, wanted me to get married soon. So when we met first time, obviously at that age, some boy comes in your life, mind is disturbed, no? You are thinking of Guru and Krishna and suddenly your mind is thinking about somebody else. So I was quite disturbed, but I wanted to know, what is this state of mind? So I just asked him, I said, how do you feel, Prabhuji? Now that this arrangement has been fixed. So he gave a very beautiful answer. He said, till now I was only concerned how I have to go back to Godhead. Now I have to focus on how we both have to go back to Godhead.
It wasn't a planned answer, okay?
And so even then I'll answer to And that was so true, that when you take responsibility of other people's lives, then automatically you have to become a little more focused, alert. And I have to help somebody else also to do that. So sometimes they say, that how does the child makes a mother? When you have a child, that shapes you into become a mother. You don't know. But when you fall in the swimming pool, you learn swimming, something like that. So, when you take responsibility to grow others in Krishna consciousness, automatically you will get, that focus, that seriousness to do. And all of us know the day you have some big engagement, or suppose I have to give a class to 1,000 people, and I will feel, my God, get me time today nicely. I have to do something extra. Or I have to take a group of people for yatra. And I will think like that, let me become a little more serious. Because I have to do this particular seva, some special seva. So it always helps. So if we want to grow faster in our Krishna consciousness, the best secret, small thing, that take up small preaching engagements. Maybe preaching doesn't mean that I have to have 100 people in front of me to be able to speak. No, whatever, 2 people, 4 people, and automatically it will grow. Because for any community there are 2 aspects. So one is what? Maintenance, and the other is growth. So we have to maintain the existing devotees, but we need to grow them, grow the community also, right? So growth means, naturally, if your child is in, you come to somebody's house and say, which standard you are in? 4th standard. After 2 years you meet him, which standard? 4th standard. After 2 years you come, which standard? 4th standard. Would that be good? Right? So, everywhere it is a win-win situation. Community grows, you grow. There is personal growth, there is community growth. So, as far as possible, that devotee share the secret. That is what helped him to stabilize his sadhana, that he just took up preaching engagements. Not that he was very known. Because sometimes we feel, I only knew, what can I tell others? But that's not true. There will never be a time when you know everything to tell. If I don't know, I will ask somebody and tell. But try to see that in whatever way we can assist in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by taking up some engagement to their thing.
Yeah, this is a nice one. So this Vaishnava said that he gave a different perspective to the chanting, right? Because his own realization, he said that we say, that chanting khatam ho gaya. खत्म हो गया खत्म हो गया मतलब खत्म हो गया तब तक कहीं खत्म हो गया So Hindi is a very wonderful language and we can derive very funny meaning out of it. Can be applied to japa. Japa khatam ho gaya, right? I have finished japa. So that word finished japa, and we should remember the words we use have meaning. And the words we use also carry a state of consciousness. And the words we use also shows our attitude. Right? So when we say the word finished or khatam ho gaya, it means it is a chore which we have got done with. Right? There's something which I have to get done with. I have to clean the house. खत्म हो गया साफ कर दिया सब कुछ and some laundry to do, laundry खत्म हो गया, done it. So sometimes you want to do it because it has to be done with, right? If that's what you do during japa or for japa, then that's not the base thing which Krishna used for. Because Prabhupada says in letter of instruction, introduction, that success in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the practitioner, right? So how we approach Krishna, right, is the way we will actually be getting reciprocation from the Lord himself, right? Therefore this devotee doesn't share this nice thing that I call my chanting as Nam Seva. Nam Seva. That means he sees chanting as an act of his service to the Lord. What is Seva done for? Why do we serve?
Please the
To
Lord.
please. we serve, anybody we serve to naturally pleasing that person. So, is japa an act of pleasing Krishna? Answer is yes. We want to please Krishna. Therefore, rather than saying japa ho gaya or chanting ho gaya, we say Nam Seva. Because Krishna is not just a sound, Krishna is a vigraha. He is manifest fully in that sound. He is a person who is manifesting in sound. Right? It is not just an empty sound. And therefore, to see chanting as Nam Seva would be a very, very healthy way of looking at the act of japa. Right? So keep that attitude. Like Prasad Seva, right? For example, like we say, Prasad Seva means what? It is not the same as food distribution. You take a baldi and you have this bada chammach, right? You say, Ari jara khan de kya ho, right? So you put sweet rice, you put dal, and you put the rice. We are doing Prasad Seva, right? When we eat, it is also actually technically called as Prasad Seva. So in Krishna consciousness, actually everything is done and should be done with the attitude of Seva. Right? Aarti is a type of seva. Shringar, which we do for the deity, is a type of seva. Right? Distributing prasadam is also a type of seva. Right? And similarly, japa is also actually seva. And jitna acha bhav hoga, to the extent our bhav is proper, to the extent our seva will be proper also. So let's see seva as an active and a most wonderful means of directly and immediately pleasing the object of our love. That is Sri Krishna. The moment you really chant nicely, you know that Krishna actually smiles. And he is most happy to dance on our tongue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
He said Krishna dances on the tongue when we chant. So suppose if Krishna had to appear in front of you and he had a crumpled dhoti, a withered garland, a bent flute, or a fallen down peacock feather, and we ask Krishna, Krishna, what happened to you today? Otherwise you look so charming and beautiful and attractive.
More attractive.
Attractive. What happened to you today? So he would, what answer would he give? And I am still attractive, but this is how you make me well. This is how you chant. I'm on the tongue, but you are this is how you make me appear. So this devotee, the sixth thing that this devotee was telling was analogies which could help us to improve our japa. When we came to Krishna consciousness, to remember any point is much easier to remember when you give an analogy, right? Remember when you became a devotee, what did they tell you? Some examples, anybody remember? Some analogies?
If you water the root of the tree.
Watering the root of the tree, then the whole tree gets nourished. Any other analogy? Remember?
Fish out of water.
Fish out of water. Beautiful.
Iron rod in fire.
Iron rod and fire. Butter and fire concept. The spider and the web creation concept, right? How easily big concepts are explained, and you will always remember. Whenever you see iron rod, you will remember, oh, this is what it means. When you see a fish and water, you remember this analogy. That I see a tree and you remember this example, right? Same way, they gave few analogies which could help us to improve the quality of our job. One was, when you are chanting, it's like inviting Krishna to come to your house, right? Suppose today Alankar Prabhu invited all of us to come here, and you ring the bell and nobody is opening the door. And you are wondering what happened. Is the program here or somewhere else? And you call up Alankar Prabhu and say, no, I am at Costco. I'm coming. Just do shopping for the program. I'm coming. And then you wait for some time and again you ring the bell and you're still not there. You not come. So how would you feel as a guest? That what is this? Alankar Prabhu called me, Radhika called me, and they're not there only at home. Right? So that's how many times, often, we chant our rounds. We are chanting means you are calling out to Krishna, but we are not present only. Our mind is somewhere else. We are defocused. We are So this analogy struck a great devotee like Krishna Chandra Prabhu. He gave this example. One of our senior most Vyastas. He saying, whenever I feel my chanting is not going good, I remember this. I am inviting Krishna, but I am not present in the name. You know? Another analogy somebody gave was what? Chanting is not like going and sitting on a dentist chair. How many of you have gone to the dentist? Everybody. As a kid, as a adult or something. Rarely, if you are fortunate, you must have not gone. But most of us have gone. What do? You go to the dentist and the doctor is still wearing the duta. He's figuring out the medicine. We are like, finish off. Fast, finish off. Because that pain is, we all have experienced it. It's too painful. Right? So saying sometimes chanting is not a pain experience that way, but you want to finish off with it because chanting is left, and there's still so many rounds are left. So we just, open our mouth and like, we just trying to finish off. So you have to remember that chanting is not like going and sitting on a dentist chair. Because what it is said that, now hear this term very nicely, organized neglect. Organized neglect of our chanting starts after becoming senior devotees. Many times. Right? Otherwise we are quite careful. Prabhuji said I have to chant like this and all. Then I feel I am only Prabhuji. Don't ask me anything. And the same always that when you go to the temple you are Dasanudas, then you become Dasanudas, then you become Das. Everybody else is Prabhu, but then you feel now I am also Prabhu. Because I feel I am Mahaprabhu now. Right? So what happens? We neglect because we think that is basic and ABCD. Higher concepts. Yeah, start from Ras Leela or Madhurya Kadam Bini and what are those other? And some, such Sandarbhas and Panchampu and those things you talk about. Chanting, it's okay, right? So we forget about it. So in this world, there are many people you will find, what is juggler? There are jugglers, So there are some retailers, there are wholesalers, there are jugglers, there are smugglers. But what are devotees? They are strugglers. We are supposed to be not smugglers. We are supposed to be jugglers. They are strugglers. We juggle, that is there, we juggle with Krishna also. But we are supposed to be strugglers. And by discussing about these basic things, it helps us to become good strugglers. One time Dwarakadish Prabhu was walking with Maharaj, and Maharaj asked him, so Dwarakadish Prabhu, how are you? So he said, Maharaj, I am struggling. So Maharaj said, thank you. Thank you for struggling. Because struggling means you are alive at least. Dead body struggles, just floats and drowns or whatever, But if you are struggling means investing energy, you are trying to stay afloat. You don't want to drown in the material world. So we remember this that we want to be strugglers. Okay. Third example, which was very beautiful example, analogy which they gave was what? Of boarding of flight. Obviously, all of us board flights a number of times. How do you board a flight? What is the first thing you do boarding a flight?
Luggage.
Check in. You check in. What do you check in? The big baggage. You don't check in handbag and carry the big baggage. What do you check in? The big bags you check in, you carry a small bag and get into the flight. Just a handbag or something, right? So same way, all of us are having big baggages of the whole day. Some professional load is there. Some family load is there. Some you had something with some, what do you say, discord or misunderstanding with somebody. That load is there. Your health ka load is there. You're not feeling well. So many baggages we are carrying. And what happens that when we sit to chant, so all those thoughts come into our mind. Now I have to finish fast my chanting because I have to do this and I have to do that and that has to be done. We are carrying the baggage with us. So it is recommended that when we try to chant, if I know that today these things are there, first let me check in that okay, all this can wait. I check in the baggage right now and then I sit down to chant with what? Only my handbag. Please leave that. And the biggest bag you check in is what? Mobile. Smallest but is the biggest bag you have to check in. Because when the mobile is there, you are chanting and something, something has come for me. Nothing could be so urgent that it's just a weakness that we all have got, So many people nowadays realizing that weakness, they are trying to consciously practice digital detox. You heard of this? Digital detox? In fact, in India, recently a video had gone viral that in one particular village, the head of the village, in India they call him Sarpanch, his son, he could not control him from screen time. Whole day he would just be on this. So he was wondering how to teach my son, So sometimes when you can't teach the son, then you have to teach other people so that your son learns by seeing other people. So because he had that position, what did he do? He made a policy in his village. He said, okay, every day 7 o'clock a siren will go on. For 30 seconds siren will play in the whole village, that everybody knows that now it's time for digital. Keep away the mobiles. So all children, all adults, they all just keep away the mobiles aside and do what? Other things which they forgot to do because of the mobile. Means they will talk, they will play, they will spend time with each other, they will eat together without looking at the mobile, All these small things they started doing, and for 2 hours digital detox he would have. And then he would have people go, village is a small place, so they would go door to door, and if you are caught doing, handling the mobile, you would be fined. This is a real story. And people started liking the off mobile time so much that they increased the digital detox. Because they realized, oh, what's the pleasure in spending time with family? What's the pleasure of playing in the ground? So many nice things could happen. So some of us were discussing that maybe at our personal level, whatever way we can practice, at least when we go to the temple, we could have digital detox, or at least during sadhana time, wherever we are, as heads of the family. Maybe in our family unit we have control, we are sarpanch of our family, right? Hopefully. So we can enter. It is a self-discipline which we make some policies for the betterment of our own family. We get more family time together, then all these other factors will come, stable family life, what we are talking of, stability will come in our this thing. So trying to check in all the baggage. And check-in means what? It's not that they are gone forever. After you finish your rounds, means when your flight lands, you can again take the luggage back. No? You have to take it back. You can't renounce it. But you do it after you land. Because after you finish your sadhana, then you take it back. Because it is reality. They are not false. Health is a reality. Wealth is a reality. Family is a reality. So we again take back our things and do it. But remember this example of checking the baggage, bigger baggages before doing your sadhana. Good point?
Yes.
And the fourth example they gave was of, there is a disease which in Indian language it is called as Bhasmya Rog. Sounds like Bhasmasur, no? But Bhasmya Rog is a type of disease where a person eats, overeats, but he never puts on weight. Not wow.
Lucky.
There's something wrong in the body that if things don't get digested properly or assimilated properly or whatever, something is there, infection, that you just, the required nutrients your body doesn't get only, and you don't get nourished. You always remain sickly only. You eat food to nourish your body, right? We are not talking of overeating, but normal food. But this person can eat, but they don't gain weight only. So similarly, we devotees, we can chant only. But if we don't chant good quality rounds, then we never put on devotional weight. Our devotion never gets weight only. So we wonder why my devotion is not growing. Why? Because I am chanting externally. I am doing my 16 rounds every day. But because the quality is not improving or it has stagnated, so I am not improving. Right? So we don't want to be victims of bhasma. So for examples, analogies, you remember? One is inviting Krishna to your house. Second is dentist chair.
Baggage.
Checking baggage. And fourth is
Basmara.
you don't find the English. It sounds like a very bhayankar.
The type of malabsorption. Okay, this is a very good.
Are you all with us?
Yes.
Yeah. So this wonderful Vaishnava said this very deep point, I would say, out of his own deep realization. He said that when you take care of your chanting, that chanting will take care of you. Because when we do everything you're talking about right now, talking about doing right now about detox, visible sadhana, reading, hearing, preaching movements, etc. When you do all these things we just talked about before, the 6 points prior to this, right? When you do that, that means you're taking really, really good care of your sadhana, of your japa, right? And how does Krishna reciprocate? Because bhakti is a bilateral process. Right? It's not about what just you are doing, but the Lord is equally and wonderfully reciprocating in ways which you not even understand. What does the Lord do? You take care of your japa, and Krishna takes care of your consciousness. Right? And what is the meaning of taking care of consciousness? Consciousness is about what you speak based on your consciousness. What we think based on our consciousness. How we behave based on our consciousness. These are the 3 primary symptoms of consciousness. The way we think, speak, and we act. And manasa, vacha, karma. Right? So, if we actually do japa the way we are supposed to do japa, and we more or less sort of know intuitively how we are supposed to do japa, even though we are talking about it in a very conscious way right now, we know deep in our hearts how we should chant. And if we really do it that way, then Krishna will take care of you by taking care of your consciousness. You will think rightly, you will speak rightly, and you will act rightly.
Hare
The 8th one, this came from a very nice, wonderful brahmachari who became, he was a lawyer in terms of brahmachari. He joined in something like 1988, many years ago. And at that point we had rotating presidency in our temple. So that the president would rotate once in 4 months. So he was the president at that time. It was his tenure. So Radhanath Swami Maharaj was sitting and doing japa. And during japa he called for him. He said, "It's not too much." He said, "Please come." So he said, "Yes, Maharaj." He said, "Sandra Prabhu, I want to take care of 3 things. One is, and during japa see to it that no devotee sleeps." Resonates? That no devotee talks. Bigger and see that no devotee leaves the temple room. These are 3 specific instructions which he as a temple president was supposed to enforce, and not enforce, but he was supposed to be responsible for seeing that this has not happened. So he did various things, of course, for them to see that we would sit in a circle around each other, and then 6-7 people in a circle, and he sits during japa. So, while the blessing was going on, the Lord sits inside, and everyone doesn't leave, but everyone is there for those 1.5 to 2 hours in the temple room, and no one talks anything. However important to manage an issue, some issues always there, right? Something is always there. And all that can, with the baggage thing which is said, everything can be pushed.
Checked in.
Afterward, during japa, nothing, right? So this is something which we felt was immediately doable, right? So can we avoid sleeping? Yes, we can just stand, wash our face, right? Then how many of us talk during japa? Is sleeping? Jet lag. So we talk during japa. We don't. We're supposed to be talking to Krishna with our hearts. And therefore, talking about ye and wo and this and that, when all that can wait. Basically, in biblical words, they use the word communion. Communion. Those two are our sacred time. Right? And they have Sabbath in the Jewish people have Sabbath on Fridays. Right? So those 2 hours are absolutely the most sacred part of our life. Right? It's our private time with our Ishtadev, Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Right? So do not allow anything else to interfere with that sacred communion at that time. So neither sleep should disturb us, neither should any mundane talk, unless of course the emergency, yes, of course. It's not like that, but by and large many things are not avoidable. So that is something which was very valuable, I felt we should do. If you're sitting, if you have a temple room, many of us have deities in our homes, right? When we have temple room, puja room, right? And most of us stand in the puja room, right? If you're sitting in the puja room, then just sit there. If you have a package, sit on a chair, sit on a sofa, but sit and just finish your round in the puja room. Why? Because the puja room is a sacred room of your house. The best room of your house, of course, is the puja room, right? Because the Lord is residing there. So this was 3 nice instructions which Sadhguru Prabhu said in the panel.
The next point was, we have beggars everywhere. In India, we very commonly find beggars. Here also we have been seeing somewhere. So they say that there are 2 types of beggars. One is an active beggar, which we have in India, they keep pestering you. Keep walking, they can't mind you. They'll keep on following you, they'll keep on. If your car is moving ahead in the signal, they'll keep on coming, actively they will keep on. Right? That is one type of beggar. And the other beggar is what? A passive beggar. He just sits in the corner with a bowl over there and he's waiting, somebody will come and pick. He's not actively irritating somebody or pursuing somebody, right? So, many of us over here are initiated devotees. So when we took initiation, we gave that commitment to our spiritual master that I will chant 16 rounds every day. I will follow 4 regulative principles. I will serve in the mission of Prabhupada, right? How many spiritual masters after initiation keep asking you on a yearly basis or every 5 years for chanting? Anybody has been asked by the spiritual master after Diksha, okay, are you chanting? If you are not asked, does it not put more responsibility on us? That passively spiritual master is waiting that you will keep up your commitment. And we said we will chant 16 rounds attentively. We said that, whatever way we said it, whether we meant it or not. Right? So, when somebody is demanding, it is more easier in one sense to fulfill the demands, but like we said, a child, it cannot say anything, it will just cry. So you don't know, is it hungry, that's why it's crying, or some health issue, stomach is paining, you don't know for what reason the child is crying. But an adult can tell, okay, this is, I want this because of this or that. Then it's much easier. But the spiritual master has never asked, and is never going to ask us. So that puts an added onus on our mind that I should do. For example, I just remember that I used to go for collection for our temple, for a hospital project. I used to go to collect donations on a collection drive. So we were staying 2 hours away from the temple, and every day I would travel downtown 2 hours away, do collection, and then go back 2 hours in the morning. So obviously I had to go away from home. The hospital was there at that time, not where it is right now. So every day my guru, spiritual master, would see me there. And he would meet and he would ask, so how's the collection today? How are you? Whatever, some good exchanges. One day he asked me that I see you here every day. What do you cook for Dwarakadish? I said, Maharaj, dal, rice, sabji, chapati, sometimes khichdi, curry, like that. So he says, Dwarakadish Prabhu is not a demanding husband. He will not ask you that you make some sweet for me or make some savory for me, some farsan for me. But it is your duty, all the more, that since he is not demanding and asking, you should make nice things for him. He said, I am like your father. If I will not train you and tell you these things, you will not realize also that I should do these things. So he said, if he was demanding, then it would be easy, but he is not a demanding husband. So similarly, since spiritual master is not demanding us, chanting, this year also you are chanting, next year also you are still chanting, no. He doesn't ask us. So what does he do? That means he trusts us. Now which gentleman would break the trust of a loved one? That is almost, like breach of trust, isn't it? So how much we have to be careful that since I am not being asked, I have to be all the more careful that I must try to time and again analyze my chanting and try to see how I can improve, on what level I can improve, right? So this was a very, very touching point everybody found that, oh my God, this was like a hit point, that I'm not asked, so I should do it better. Next point was that we do not discuss enough about, as we said that, last point, that we do not discuss enough. If we could talk about it more often, as we said, then it becomes like a very basic topic. You want to discuss some higher topics and go deeper and do something. But this being the foundation, if we could figure out in smaller groups, whenever we meet each other, we say, we are associating. I associate regularly. Like when we had initial days, when we came to Krishna consciousness, because association means doing anything together. So one day somebody asked us, where were you? No, in association we went to watch a movie. That's what we thought. Association is doing anything with devotees is association. But not like that. So when we meet, what do we? We exchange pleasantries, right? Sometimes we will ask, how's your health? How's your profession going? How's the children, exams are there? What is going on? Sometimes we might ask, where did you get the jacket from? Or, from where did you get the sari from? Whatever you ask. Along with that, if we could also ask each other periodically, especially among close friends. Sometimes if we close friends means we'll talk everything except, but this is one of the important bases of our friendship, could be Krishna-centered relationship. So if we could ask, how's your bhajan going? The Goswamis, when they would meet each other, they would ask, how's your bhajan going? When we ask, how's your bhajan going? Ask all of that. How's your bhajan going? What did you cook today? What did you do that? That's fine, but along with bhajan, we also have to ask about bhajan. Bhajan is another term for sadhana, japa, whatever you say. So we should ask. We can ask each other. And nobody should feel offended. You're asking me, I'm doing it for 30 You're asking me how I'm doing. Obviously, it's doing good. Right? So, that's sometimes a danger when you become senior. Nobody asks you only anything. Sometimes we'll be, how do you know I'm chanting 16 rounds or no? My intro could be 40 years devotee or what. But do you know I'm chanting 16 rounds or no? Somebody should ask each other. Equals can definitely ask each other, right? When we meet up, okay, how's it going? What are the struggles? What are the challenges? Because obviously it's not easy to huge and 16,000. We have our own struggles. At every stage, there is a different type of variety of struggle. Right? So, to discuss enough, to discuss often about sadhana helps us. Now, to just conclude, I want to say that when we remember these 10 points, what happens to us? What is the result of it? When you do good sadhana, when we are time to time going to analyze our japa, and when you make it into point form, it becomes easier to remember, right? First point is this, second point is this. It's not any given in Chaitanya Charitamrita or, Bhagavatam or Bhakti Ratnaka or anywhere. But these were just some, because we believe that the devotee needs to do lifestyle management. Our life is going to be, along with the Shastric understanding, we have to understand how can I do some lifestyle management. So these points were for that. So when we are able to do good sadhana, what is the result? Please remember these 4 things happen to you. Number 1, what happens? The philosophy of Krishna consciousness becomes more appealing. Philosophy becomes more appealing. Number 2, what happens to you? Srila Prabhupada's books seem more sweeter to you. You will relish reading Prabhupada's books. No? You will look forward to reading just because your sadhana has been good, your chanting has been good, your Nam Seva has been good. Third thing, what happens? ISKCON appears very beautiful. ISKCON is an institute, right? Institutes have up and down. It has some negative, some positive. Everything happens, and it's very easy to say, man, ISKCON, I know what it is. I don't have anything to do with ISKCON. At any point of time, we could feel like that. I don't want to be bound by institution, I don't want to do this. But when our sadhana is going good, what happens? ISKCON appears more beautiful to us. And the last thing, and the best thing, is what? Vaishnavas appear as Vaishnavas to you. Beautiful concept, right? Sometimes we say, oh, that devotee, I know everything about him. I know what he is, I know what she is. We know, after staying in close knit community, we know everything about everything, little bit. Some good also, some bad also, some good also, some bad, some good. They also see some good and bad in you, because you are close knit community, it's going to be natural, right? However, to the extent our sadhana is good, we will be able to have that power to be able to overcome our, that fault-finding tendency, that judgmental tendency, and be able to see Vaishnavas as Vaishnavas. Such a beautiful thing, no? Vaishnavas is such a rare thing, and we so easily find so many faults in them. So these 4 things, you remember them? Philosophy becomes more appealing. Prabhupada's books appear more sweeter. ISKCON appears more beautiful. And Vaishnavas appear as Vaishnavas. And I'll just end with a small story. This year we have our drama festival, and we did drama on Madan Mohan. You all know the story of Sanatan Goswami and Madan Mohan. Sanatan Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis, and he got the deity of Madan Mohan from a devotee called Purushottam Chaubey. And when he got the deity, he didn't know where to keep the deity because he didn't have a temple or he didn't have a house himself. He was staying under a tree, different tree every night. But he was staying in an area of Vrindavan known as Dwadash Aditya Tila. So he took Madan Mohan and he kept the deity under a tree and he was worshipping him every day. And then worshipping, you have to offer bhoga to the deity, right? So what could he offer? He didn't have any ingredients. How was he surviving himself? By doing madhukari. Going house to house, he was getting some. So what would people give? Some flour. North India, roti culture is there, no? Bengal, there is rice culture. But there roti culture. So they would give him some flour, atta. He would take this atta, but then what to do with the atta? So he had nothing. So he would just mix Yamuna gel because he was staying on the bank of Yamuna and make dough out of it, balls, and put it in fire. And that item is known as bati. Right? That bati, he would cook and offer that to Madan Mohan every day. Day in and day out, same item. You may love something, you may love idli dosa. But if every day you eat idli dosa, then something will happen to you. Right? So Madan Mohan, every day he is having bati. So one day he told Sanatan Goswami, he didn't talk to him because that was the devotion of Sanatan Goswami. He said, my my dear Sanatan, I'm really loving the buttons. They are very nice and all. But I was wondering that can you add some salt to it? Give me some salt along with it, right? So this is so relevant to our discussion today. We are all chanting 16 rounds every day, like offering bhati every day. So the Lord is asking us, can you add some salt to your chanting? Can you? Because salt is a taste enhancer, right? You make the best item, but you forget the salt. It's a very small ingredient. But the whole taste of everything goes away if there is no salt. The best item, right? So that's what Krishna is trying to ask us, that you are chanting every day, and I appreciate that very much. But please try to add some salt to it, and that will make the item more delightful. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, the question is coming.
This is an opportunity now, somebody has any questions. What is the time of how long we can go?
5 minutes.
So today we did part 1 of the seminar. What we are trying to discuss is how to refine and resolve to the better bhakti. Right? Bhakti is also on a spectrum. So tomorrow we are going to take the topic of spectrum at the temple where we are going to have. So this is part 1 of the discussion. Part 2 will be tomorrow. So do not miss it if possible.
No, ask question.
Go Mataji.
Prabhu, you had mentioned to have regular Shravanam before japa. Does reading a Gita verse or reading 3 or 4 verses before japa count as Shravanam or does that?
Yes, it does. So anything which actually, as I said, circle prayers or all these things, those few acts of activating, just like when you put the tawa is there on the fire, you cannot put chapati immediately. You have to make the tawa first hot, and then it will make into roast into a nice chapati, right? So our consciousness is like the tawa, right? Immediately you put that harinam on it, right? Unless it is activated, or when you eat food, then there are some enzymes. So when you eat our appetizer, it activates our appetite, right? Or eat some jaljeera or then it activates appetite. So when we activate our consciousness to receive and focus holy name nicely, we get that this thing. But we are saying that during the whole day, if not in the morning, then make hearing as an essential component of a daily activity. Now some of you are mothers, wives, you could be doing it when you are doing your cooking, right? Because cooking is, our men are driving, there is a home, of course, they are not driving because we are looking from home. But anyway, but those who are driving going from A place to place B, put on, ABP, whatever, and then start hearing. So, hearing and reading is something which we tend to neglect as rehearsal because our family duties tend to overwhelm us too much. Right? But to squeeze out some time for hearing and reading would be definitely enhancing the quality because there is more understanding. Right? The more understanding you do it with, then the quality is better. Yes.
Folk music mode.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Oh, I say it.
Thank you, Prabhu. So I really loved, all the whole the systematic way how you presented these points. And the question that I have is on point number 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
So point number 3 was about Shravanam, regular Shravanam, and 4 was Nam Seva.
Namaste.
Right? So I found a little that there was a contradiction there. Was so you said that about hearing, hearing from someone who inspires us. But Nam Seva, if somebody, even if somebody is not inspiring us, but they are talking about Nam, then why to exclude them from our hearing? Like for example, if I love Krishna and if I want to hear from Krishna, no matter who speaks, I should be inspired by him, right?
No matter who speaks.
Yeah, no matter who speaks. So why to be selective on, okay, this person inspires me, so I only listen to this person. And what happens is most of the times is there are so many speakers who are like very maybe new or who are not so senior, who may not be so inspiring, but
Charismatic.
yeah, not so charismatic. But when they give classes, and people don't come and because they have inspiration from somebody else, so then they are like they don't feel encouraged, so they can continue to speak more on Bhagavatam, because ultimately it's Nityam Bhagavatam Seva, right? So whoever speaks, it's about Bhagavatam, not about the speaker.
Very
Right. So, do you wanna share something that how to be like? Of course, we should have somebody who inspires us, so we should dedicate some time.
So the point is well taken. It's a very beautiful point. Thank you for bringing this up. Right? Anybody who's sitting on the Vyasasana, who the temple authorities have selected, is obviously a person who has of some good standing. Right? So the fact that he is speaking in Parampara from Holy Situation Bhagavatam, he is worthy of listening, that is absolutely accepted. So that's about, so you can say there are two types of two people who move to here. One is who is the ongoing daily Bhagavad speaker, from our temples, wherever we are, either from home or from online. And there could be also our own chosen speakers. Right? So that could be a second category. And I think we all have a second category also, which we know for sure that when I hear this person or persons, then I feel so connected to Krishna. I feel so deeply impressed, not by the oration or by the oration, but the fact that it just brings out some so deep points in bhakti, which actually nourish me. So I think the both things can be done. Is all right? Right? So we are not trying to exclude what you are saying. It's also inclusive of that. Yeah. We are not saying don't hear as a regular Bhagavatam speakers and then your own children speakers as well. Both are wonderful.
You will need some people who will give you the kick in Krishna consciousness. That's you call it.
You need that. There's someone who just really gently pushes you. Right? Go deeper. Become more sincere. Become more surrendered. Offer your consciousness more to the Lord. Someone just keeps on pushing you. Right? And there are some speakers who do that. And that depends on the level of purity of the speaker. Because somebody speaks with deep realization from his heart. Right? What comes from the heart goes to the heart. Right? But those empowered speakers who are self-realized souls, pure Vaishnavas, advanced Vaishnavas, they have a greater potency to inspire bhakti in our hearts. We want to hear them as well. Is that right? Right. Thank you.
This is something which might observation in Columbus, so some of them here. This is very inspiring. This is one thing which I also emphasize in most of those Japan studies we talk about it. Then I also tell people what they see. So sometimes some devotees inspired from me one of things. Sometimes inspired from knowing, hearing, but the tendency is there. Somebody's in class, people are sitting there chanting. Festivals going, long going to begin, I've seen one hand behind doing services. Because the intention, they're behind the services. They want to catch up. That is the only time they have. But however, when they pursue, they put in a chant here. They can go to some other room, they can chant. So this is one thing I've noticed in Columbus also. Sometimes I tell them, sometimes I've seen the devotees in the temple room checking the text. I said, please, if you go other room, in front of Krishna, text and talk. So we're so accustomed. So these basic things, even though we know we hear, but still, when we are time bound, I have to let less than, I have to catch up now, somehow I have to finish it. In that perspective, it doesn't matter where I am. What is your observation of articles of steam? How you deal, how you communicate? One time you said, two times you still others how you working on it. Said many times. How we still bring that seriousness from the people share something.
One is, as we said, that by re-emphasizing it every now and then, is is not that you hear about something once, you will be able to remember for the rest of your life. So, time and again, we need to reinforce it. And the better thing than that is what? By our own example. That when we are able to show by our own example, that action speaks louder than the words. So both, by example and by, we will also have the potency to speak about it more. So that's why one of the points was that we do not discuss enough about it. We, discuss so many other things. Not that every day you discuss, then it becomes like a common thing. But every now and then we must, periodically, we must discuss about it. That this is happening, that is. So when we are talking about all these examples and these points, we are telling the principles. Details we have to work out. Like we might say, oh, that Maharaj was in the temple, but we are at home. So we are not talking about home or temple, it's a principle. That even if you are at home, try to see that you can avoid sleeping. Try to see that I am not sitting in a temple or that I don't leave the temple, or try to see if we can have a fixed place for chanting. Not that today I chant here, tomorrow I'm on the bed and chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Next day I'm in the kitchen and I'm boiling the milk and chanting. No, some allotted time and allotted place for chanting. That automatically enhances that when you go there you feel, oh, I have to chant good rounds over here. So some of these tips and principles that we remember, and where we see good examples, that's why we say visible sadhana means the leaders at least. Amongst ourselves, we can just at least make a attempt. We set the best of examples that people will see. Otherwise, it will appear that we are being told, but the leaders themselves are doing this. Then it is deterrent somewhere. So, it works.
Yeah. The main thing is make japa a exclusive activity. This whole modern disease of multitasking. There have been so many things during japa, right? Planning our whole day, planning our next day, planning our entire life, planning our finances. We plan everything during japa. Whether it's like a spare time you're getting. Or it's very busy. It's like spare time. I can do so many things. Buying the milk or looking at the mobile, and that is a bad habit which we have to, hit hard and sort of get rid of. Because we have got into, we may have got into bad habits, right? Because of some amount of neglect, right? So this Vaishnava Sangha is a powerful forum where we can again go back to our basics and say, okay, I must understand, japa is an exclusive activity, right? It is not to be mixed with anything else, right? It's so important, it's so powerful, and it's so necessary that I cannot possibly dilute it off, with anything else. And it is just, it's sort of, I'm cheating myself if I do that. I'm sitting for japa, but I'm trying to do something else. So the very purpose of what I'm doing is defeated here itself, because I will not achieve the goal of what I'm doing. I will not be able to please Krishna. I won't be able to purify my consciousness. I won't be able to really, get into another nivritti, because I'm just doing so many things at that japa. So please, let's make it. What is it? It's a signal that now we should make.
One question.
Last question.
In this context, I just had one beautiful statement of Maharaj, which was there, I just remember. Yeah.
Prabhu, you can ask the question. Last question.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. It was a really wonderful session, and I have really learned a lot from you. And since you are so exclusive, I have a personal questions, both of you. I've been doing rounds for a long time, but I want to know from you that when you are doing a round like japa, what's your mind? What is your mindset? What state of mind you are? Means what is the thoughts that you have? Each beats that you actually hold it, and sometimes I do feel that my minds deviate sometimes, and I have to pull my mind back to the japas. So what are your experiences, and how did you control your mind, and what are the suggestions that you can give us? Hare Krishna.
Very good.
Both of you, please.
Yeah. read one place, in Prabhu's personal conversation, where he says we should try to remember Krishna specifically, right? And therefore, when my mind wanders, which it does quite often, I try to focus my mind on the form of Krishna's charan, charan smaran. Right? Our worshipful deities are Radha Vrindavan Bihari in GEV, Radha Madan Mohan, and Radha Gopinath. So personally, I close my eyes and think about the lotus feet, right, which is the goal of our bhakti is to receive the charan of the Lord within the core of our hearts. The moment I really think of the Lord's lotus feet, which are so beautiful, so merciful, full of grace, my mind is so much calm. And I truly focus on this way.
And also, this going to the temple and chanting has helped us to remember all these points. So the discussion was tips on how to improve our chanting. So it has come, when you try to remember all these things, they become very automatic when we are chanting in the right type of environment. So that is what has helped us.
Especially when you do at home, because
When I am doing at home, then I try to do in front of him so that he is there to correct me and watch me that where I am going wrong, or you are not pronouncing properly, or you are sleepy or something. So at least I try to do it that way.
One thought, I was one of the Vaishnava's home, and he sits with a set of few important notes, boldly written in some 10 sheets, and I was just doing japa with him, and I saw that he has written one big bold realization. If your mind wanders during japa, then you will keep wandering in 84 experiences of life. So rather not wander, I have to wander.
So in the second verse, one statement which Maharaj said is that unsteadiness in Krishna consciousness. We are talking of steady bhakti, right? So unsteadiness in Krishna consciousness starts with casual hearing and chanting. Then they say when you become casual, then you become casualty. If you are casual about it, you become casualty. So Maharaj said when one is not chanting properly, that is already a fall down.